Hello, everybody. My name is Payne, and welcome back to an exciting episode of the FSPN coverage of the EMEA factions. That's a whole bunch of letters. I'm joined by the best looking man on his side of the sea, Master Spleen, fellow PvP Academian, and today we're going to be covering the Wasted Potential versus Fani Kushiego bout in the Diamond tier, not Platinum. Spleen, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine, and you? Really glad to be here. Really looking forward to shoutcast those diamonds and not platinum, like I'm all the time messing around. So I'm really looking forward. A lot of familiar faces in both team for me, who is used to play those European top guns. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm pretty sure we will see some really hyped battles today.
Absolutely, I can't help but agree with you. And we were intended to be joined by a North American Burnobus. He is currently recovering from a procedure, so rest well, Burnobus. We've got the Piplup there to represent my fellow North American. But Spleen, for those unfamiliar with the Silph factions formats, basically how it breaks down is these teams of players will battle across 5 different metas. There's 2 field specialist metas. We got Comet and Twilight, and then of course we've got the classics, the OGL, the Ultra League, and Master League. Spleen, in terms of where these specialist formats boil down to, because that's generally where a lot of the excitement comes from for the diversity in the factions format. Between Comet and Twilight, which one do you happen to be playing with on your faction?
I'm playing Comet myself. I really like the Comet meta. It's like a new meta that compared to Twilight, which used to be a Silph meta in the past. Even if with the addition of the with the poison type buff, it's a completely different, let's say, meta. But I went with Comet personal because I really liked the way it sounds, and I'm really enjoying so far. What I do like about those factions and field specialists, but it's been the same with the free leagues as well, is really the fact that you change your team or not between each bout. So you play different picks, and if, for example, something didn't work week one, you can adapt in week two, and that's really positive on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an amazing point. It is worth noting these players are able to adjust their rosters as the weeks progress through this cycle. So often, what you'll see players do is try to build teams strategically to beat maybe some of those favorite Pokemon that their opponents happened to play a lot last week or in previous weeks, but also not leave themselves open to potential holes that they brought in their previous weeks as well. So there's a lot of cogs moving between these players and how they build their teams. I happen to be playing Twilight in my faction, so between the two of us, we've got the specialist formats down. Twilight definitely a much more condensed meta, as you mentioned. A lot of Silph players might be familiar with how it operates, but it often looks a lot like Halloween Cup if you're familiar from it from the Go
Yeah.
Battle League. So definitely a familiar battlefield for a lot of players. And then of course we've got those Open Great League, Open Ultra League, and Open Master League. The Open Ultra League and Open Master League had some twists as well this cycle. So for those unfamiliar, maybe not Ultra League or Master League players or factions players, traditionally, in the Ultra League, you were only allowed to bring 1 starter Pokemon and 1 legendary mythical Pokemon. And they've adjusted this to a specific list, sort of like a white list of Pokemon that you're allowed to bring in those 2 slots, rather than just hard capping it on a starter, hard capping it on a legendary, which allows these players to flex their theory crafting muscles a little bit more. And then, of course, in Master League, where these players were restricted to a single legendary, it's now opened up to 2 legendaries. So, huge opportunities for players who are investing in those raid passes, investing in those big,
Mhm.
expensive, crazy, legendary Pokemon on, tight time frames. They can, get a little more bang for their buck now in these cycles. But in terms of how our matchups are going to look for this broadcast, we're going to start with those open meta leagues. We're going to go from the Great League into Ultra League into Master League, and then we're going to transition into our specialist metas as well. Fan favorites, surely we'll save the best for last. Spleen, between these two teams, are there any players on either team that sort of stand out that you're excited to watch?
I guess like the first thing that I'm looking forward, and I think that might be the first game. I don't know the order of the game. It's EJ against Kopu. I think that's like in Open Great League. If those two players are playing Open Great League, that's really a matchup that I'm looking forward as well. And then yeah. Um, if they are playing together, Gengineer against Mega Snorlax could be as well a very interesting matchup. So though that will be, let's say, the two matches that are
Absolutely.
striking me. But still, I don't know if they are playing together.
Fair enough. Well, actually, EJ stepped into the Comet slot for this cycle, so we're going to actually
Ooh,
have Dr. Octavius in that Great League spot versus against Skapu there. And of course, Gengineer versus Y Mega Snorlax. It's always a treat when you can have the two captains, bumping heads against each other. Surely to be a highlight. And of course, we can't skip Jumping Lemur, setting records in the EMEA cycle here in terms of overall games won. This guy's a machine. He's one of the best battlers on the planet. Can't wait to hop into those games as well. But enough talking about the overview. Let's talk about how some of these teams got built here. So, like I mentioned, we're going to be starting with Open Great League. Open Great League, a format that should be familiar to everybody. As long as the Pokemon are below 100 or 1500 CP, these players can bring any combination of Pokemon any way that they want. Spleen, between these two teams here, it looks like we have some pretty standard Open Great League rosters.
yeah.
Nothing's standing out too much between these two players. But still, managing to bring here what is this completely unique teams across the board. So it does go to show how open this format really can be, despite a lot of people, identifying it as a Nidoqueen, a Azumarill, Umbreon type meta. Between these two teams, are there any Pokemon that stand out to be, maybe ahead of the pack?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on the moveset of the A9. And A9 is definitely one of those mons that are really used in factions because you have that variety of moveset, and you can, for example, TM it to Charm or to Powder Snow, depending on the line of your opponent. But I mean, the Nidoqueen on Scopu's side looks really good. But it's going to depend if it's a charm A9 or not. Otherwise, he has to fear the Swampert and the Registeel, but still, it could have some play depending on the energy and shield scenarios. So that will be the thing that really strikes me first. It's going to see how Dr. Octavius is going to counter the Nidoqueen on Sklopu side.
Yeah, absolutely. Nidoqueen, one of those Pokemon that's always going to look very, very strong. It's very difficult to have, a complete robust team that can coverage that Pokemon. Often never even needing the second move can just Poison Fang down basically anything that gets in its way. But as you mentioned, these players are allowed to TM before their game starts, so there is a little bit of added utility on those Pokemon like Alolan Ninetales, but of course Mew as well, having the largest moveset in the game. While we typically see pretty standard Shadow Claw, Surf, Wild Charge, there is room to be, palatable. You can sort of branch off from that standard path and play things like Flame Charge, Wild Charge to have, a very, very
Yeah.
strong end game Mew, or you can even play something like Dark Pulse Volt Switch Mew has actually picked up a lot of traction in Comet, where we'll get to those matchups later. But again, a very, very flexible Pokemon. If you had to give the edge to one of these teams, where do you think you'd place your bet if you were a betting man?
That's harsh to be honest. I guess if you take maybe if you take role by role, I will tend to give the advantage to Skopu. If you take the fighter, Medicham beats Crafty. If you take the grass type, Ferrothorn should beat Venusaur. So I'll say that he has like a great basis. Skopu has a great basis, but we will find out how Dr. Octavius is going to try to turn around, like let's say, what looks like a less favorable matchup for him.
Absolutely. Well, you read my mind, Spleen. I gotta say, I feel the exact same way. It just pound for pound, the Pokemon on Scapoo's team maybe just look a little bit better than the ones on Dr. Octavius's team. But Great League is one of those formats that you can talk about it all you want, but it doesn't really matter until you get into it. So let's go ahead and hop right into game one with Scapoo versus Dr. Octavius here.
Yeah, and leading the Nidoqueen as expected into the A9. We couldn't see the fast move on the A9, but it safe swaps into the Registeel, and it's answered by a Sableye.
Yeah, so it's good. It's interesting to note, Spleen. If you are a Ninetales running Powder Snow, do you stay in that matchup? Is the immediate swap maybe a signal that it is a charm on that A9?
Yeah, I think so, but it could be as well. Let's say a trick to the opponent, but probably it's a charm A9.
Definitely. I think that that's usually what you would see, given how this gameplay pattern is followed up so far. And then, of course, we see Registeel versus Sableye. This is a tale
Yeah.
as old as time.
And no shield, so the Sableye is going to, ooh, barely surviving the Registeel. That's huge. That's a huge play here. Will we see a shield? Yes, we see a
Yeah.
shield to preserve switch.
Yeah, definitely. I think that maintaining that switch advantage is going to be huge for Scapoo. It is definitely unfortunate
Yeah,
that he gets there, and we do see the charm on that A9. So, like we expected, but we do see Dr. Octavius here slamming that Swampert button.
yeah. But unfortunately for him, Scoopu has the Ferrothorn in the back, and that's going to end up this game. Going for the EQ, ooh, that's going to be tricky actually.
Yeah, Big EQ certainly hurts even a tanky Pokemon like Ferrothorn, but it just gets these power whips so fast. Basically one
Yeah,
bullet seed away from a second one here too.
he will have to shield Dr. Octavius, and yeah, and going here, will we see the last shield on Octavius' side?
Looks like we do.
Yes.
Just investing all in on that Swampert here. Going to have to throw a charge move here in order to close this match out. Is there a world? Okay, so Scapoo goes for the no shield, but is there a world there where Scapoo can shield this Hydro Cannon and then, maybe try to position a spot where we can get to another charge move on this Nidoqueen?
Yeah, I may be trying to catch. I don't know what's the play here. He's going for the farm down. Yes, swapping
This
here.
Nidoqueen's got so much energy though, and this Ninetales does not want to eat these Poison Fangs.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's a Charm A9. Ooh, oh,
Wow, very,
actually,
very good counting.
yeah, very good counting. But actually, I think there's still a chance for Octavius because it's one much shot away and he
Wow.
secured the win. Wow, really nicely played by Octavius here.
Yeah, what an incredible game. Really, really down to the wire on that one. Very, very tightly played by both players. And, I feel like in
Yeah,
terms of
and
alignment there, Scapoo had everything that he wanted in terms of the way that the pieces played up. But just,
exactly. And I think that this 1 HP Registeel really was key. Taking shield
absolutely.
advantage there was really important.
Absolutely. IVs matter on these Pokemon, everybody. IVs matter. So, without further ado, let's hop right into game two and we'll see how Scapoo maybe wants to make these adjustments. However, it felt like I mentioned, he
Yeah,
had all the tools.
exactly, because the game plan looked nice, and this time Scopo going with the Azulid into the Registeel, and is carrying Ice Beam and Hydro Pump.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit potentially of a snooze fest matchup here. Do you expect to see any of these players invest shields here, or are these two, meat trucks just going to bash heads into each other until one of them dies?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at their backlines, I guess they probably will spend shields at some point to try to go with switch advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Swiss advantage, always an important thing to have when you can in this format. Um,
Yeah.
and it looks like the onus is going to be on Octavius here to decide what he wants to do. Oh, never mind.
Ooh. Yeah, a bit greedy and maybe on Scopu's side here, and he needs to shield losing CMP, which is unfortunate here.
Yeah, definitely a little unfortunate, and Octavius happy to get that shield advantage there.
Yeah, exactly. And I have the feeling it's the bit is the same as the previous game, coming with the Swampert to grab some energy because I guess at this stage, Octavius knows that there is the Nido Queen somewhere.
Oh, most certainly. It's definitely something that you can expect with how successful it was in that first game. But Skapu making the adjustment here and bringing in this Metacham, another just XL machine. And if memory serves correctly, actually, now that we're on the topic of XLs, I don't think Octavius has any.
Yeah, that was something telling that in chat, and that's pretty impressive because most of the time we see those leaky tongue in there. And here comes the swap, and this time Skopu as the answer.
Yep, this is most certainly where you want to see the Nido Queen on. If you can get this A9 in any shield scenario, if it's got charm, it's going to be lights out for the A9. Octavius just happy to burn through some of the energy. Getting a weather ball off as well here, always a nice little parting gift for sure.
Yeah, no shield on Skopu. He knows he can survive, and he can just farm down. And they
Oh,
stop tapping. I
interesting.
guess I was because they don't want to give free energy
Yeah,
to the opponent.
definitely. So, a little bit of a fork in the road here. We see Octavius going to be the first to toss a charm there, and Skapu winds up taking it down. Smart attempt on both players. Definitely always interesting to see those decisions being made, simultaneously and within the same second. But very good point. Nobody wants to be the one to give over that little bit of an extra farm there, and we see the
And
advantage there.
yeah, and Skopu taking the win in this second game.
Definitely, yeah. So still managed to maintain that alignment in a way that they wanted, but this time not needing to sacrifice an extra shield that early on to a move that you maybe predicted was going to kill, bringing this set to an even 1-1. Well, I certainly love decisive game three, Spleen, and I know you do as well. So let's not
Yeah,
harp on it any longer.
definitely. Let's find out.
So we've got the
Okay,
Registeel.
leading Registeel into the Medicham, so very good lead for Skopu.
Definitely looking to safe swap the Swampert, and the Ferrothorn comes in here too. Just
Yeah,
exactly how Skapu wrote it up. It's kind of harder to, given that the team's, scripted any better for Skapu there.
yeah. I think he made Skopu made a great read in there. This time Octavius going for the bait,
Definitely. Ooh, getting it too here.
grabbing a shield, and he's going to outpace here the Ferrothorn. The EQ unshielded will do tons of damage, but it's not going to
Definitely.
be enough to maintain switch.
Not at all, but we do see that the Swampert here with that extra mud shot through does now have access to that Hydro Cannon, which will certainly be enough to take out this Ferrothorn.
Yeah, I might try to.
Ooh,
Ooh. That's going to be really close here. And he
yeah,
decides to let go the Ferrothorn.
definitely. But the Swampert
Ooh,
was able to get to that second Hydro Cannon here. Uh, you know,
yeah,
Medicham is a bulky Pokemon, but this is still certainly going to take a nice quarter out of it.
yeah. But Octavius got the alignment that he wants. And still, this game is going to be very close. Scopus still has a shield.
Yeah, definitely. That shield advantage, can't be said enough how good that is, especially when you're looking down the cannon of a Registeel here. Lock-on builds these charge moves so fast, and that extra shield is going to come in handy somewhere. But
Yeah,
being able to keep this Registeel away from that Medicham is certainly a saving grace.
yeah, it's already a victory for Octavius. But with one shield, this matchup is pretty favorable for the Azumarill. Will we see a shield here? Yes, we
Yeah, there
see.
we go.
I think it makes sense.
Oh, most definitely. I do think that this is probably the safest use of the shield, just making sure that this Azumarill doesn't, accidentally fall victim to some shenanigans here. Just keep it alive. This Hydro Pump's going to kill, and then you can get
Yeah.
the Azu here to help deal with some of this charm.
Ooh, that's going to be rough here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
Might survive.
oh,
We
oh,
survive. Bank a move, and he's going to
absolutely.
reach the psychic here. and that should be enough to take the win for Skopu.
Oh,
Oh, barely
oh,
surviving.
wow.
Oh, but he has the ice beam
Yeah, very, very smart to bank
to
that move.
finish. Really, really well played by Skopu. And for a first game, that was amazing. Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely.
really, really close games.
Three battles just absolutely down to the wire there. We see one of the uses of that slow charm. It's really easy to transfer those moves onto another Pokemon and make sure that you have that move banked. So very, very well played by Skapu there to get us started off in a lead for Funi there. But Great League aside, we can go ahead and hop right into the Ultra League team breakdown here. I know that there's a lot of polarity on people's opinions on Ultra League, whether it's their favorite, whether it's the worst. Nobody ever seems to be middle of the road. People either live by this league or they die by this league. Spleen, in terms of how these teams are looking, especially with the new Ultra League rule set, it definitely, at least personally, I feel like we get a little more creativity with some of the teams that we're seeing. And here looks like we see some creativity on both sides. Shadow Drapion, not a Pokemon that you expect to see all the time in Ultra League. That one costs a pretty penny for sure. And then on
Yeah.
it's time to stop. We see Sylveon and Drifloon, also not Pokemon that you commonly see in Ultra League. Both very good in their own respects, but definitely not flagships of the meta.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, we see some mons with question marks regarding their movesets. I mean, the Drapion could go Aqua Tail, Crunch, Sludge Bomb, even Felstinger, but I don't think you should go Felstinger in Ultra League. I mean, same with the Politoed. Is it going to be a Blizzard or a EQ Politoed? The Jellicent is going to be a Bubble X, a Bubble Beam, Ice Beam. So those are some questions that it's time to stop. We'll have to answer at first. Looking at the teams, I guess the Gifisk looks nice on It's Time to Stop team. Yes, are we as counters? But it looks nice
Yeah.
on his team.
Yeah, Galarian Stunfisk, always one of those Pokemon in this format that's just a staple. Definitely a flagship Pokemon. That XL investment always pays its dividends. Pokemon's very good at getting to charge moves, very good at tanking moves, even ones that are super effective against it. Um, but
Yeah,
Spleen, the one question that I wanted to ask in terms of moveset variation, because this has been a common talking point in both leagues, do you think that it rewards players to be more creative with their movesets in Ultra League or in Great League? Especially with Pokemon like Politoed, like Drapion, because I feel like in Great League we see so much of the same no matter what, but mainly just because these Pokemon just tend to be a little more frail in that league. Do you think in Ultra League you can be a little bit more flexible on some of the movesets you want to run?
I really don't know. I think Great League might be better if you want to go Spice on moveset because of the tankiness of the mons. But yeah,
Definitely. Well, I mean,
but yeah,
just like last time, we can talk about it until the cows come home. I don't know about you, but I'm happy to hop into some Ultra League games.
yeah, definitely looking to see the Drapion. I think it's a very good
Oh,
safe
there we
swap.
go. Yeah, and,
And
and we see it
yeah,
right in the
we have the
lead there.
Drapion in the lead. So is it going to go with Aquatel? It's swapping
Ooh,
directly
didn't get a chance
into
to
the
see. I was
Machamp.
even looking for it.
Yeah, and it's time to stop answer with the Drifblim here, shielding the Rock Slide.
Definitely. Always a very interesting Machamp, another one of those Pokemon that we so often see payback in this league over that rock slide. But I guess you're happy to have either in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, will deciding to no shield and take switch advantage and coming with the Drapion. And this time we see the moveset. It's a Crunch and Sludge Bomb Drapion.
Definitely. I think, traditionally the more standard Drapion moveset that you would expect to see in Ultra League.
Yeah,
Aqua Tail definitely one that you do see more in those Open Great League metas, but Crunch hits like a truck.
yeah, going for the CMP here. That's really well played by It's Time to Stop. And are we tanking it? And he's going to. Oh, Actually, he
Okay.
didn't throw. I had the feeling he was throwing. And
I thought there was a throw too.
yeah, this crunch is going to end up into a double debuff crunch into the G-Fisk, and here comes the Talon Flame, and that's going to be a rough matchup here for the Talon Flame. It definitely needs to shield, can survive a rock slide, but barely surviving.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean this G-Fist just gets to those rock sides so fast, and it's
Yeah,
definitely not a Pokemon renowned for its incredible bulk, unlike its opponent there, the Galarian Stunfisk. So Howie going to need to invest both shields in order to try to get some work done.
yeah, and he's definitely outpacing it with the rock slide. He might not KO.
No, definitely
Yeah,
not. But
it's surviving,
oh, looking
and
for
really nice combo play here.
definitely. Yeah, definitely one of those situations where if it's time to stop, you either catch the move and that's great, or he doesn't throw the move and you just combo into a move of your own and kill the Talonflame. So there's really, no losing there, and a full HP Galvantula against this poor little Drapion with almost no health left. I don't think that it's going to be there for Howie.
Yeah, definitely. And this lunge is going to seal the deal. Galvantula also another mon that has a lot of play for its time to stop against our team.
Definitely, yeah,
So really interesting to see how he is going to adapt in
definitely.
game 2.
Yeah, I would expect to see some more of that Shadow Drapion in the safe swap rather than in the lead. As you mentioned at the beginning of the game, a very, very powerful Pokemon in this lineup, and I would expect to see it for the next two games as well. But let's see if we're right.
Yep. Oh yes, and Galvantula into the Jellicent, and it's an
Oh,
ex Jellicent, but that Jellicent is going to be destroyed here.
absolutely. Opting to
So
throw the
Willie Cole,
lunge.
yeah, they go for the lunch. Willie Cole the bait, yes, he does.
Ooh,
That's huge, and
definitely.
going for the Shadow Ball, so it might grab a shield here.
Oh, opting for no shield. Does calling that
Ooh.
lunge and then also getting the Shadow Ball there, does that help flip this matchup for Jellicent now if the Jellicent decides to invest a shield, or
Yeah, he's not going to shield. Oh, again calling, and this time he goes for the bubble beam, and no shield on its time to stop.
absolutely, yeah, completely expecting both
Ooh,
of these
that's going
players
to
just
be.
to
Oh
simultaneous.
wow!
Oh,
Ooh, barely surviving. He has a lunge ready.
yeah, definitely. It not being simultaneous there, certainly not super beneficial for Howie's side. Neither of these Pokemon really want to eat the lunge. The attack debuff is going to matter no matter which way you look at it. But opting to come in here for the Shadow Drapion, met with a Ferrothorn. Kind of a miserable matchup for the
Ooh.
Drapion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's let's say I think it's a more neutral matchup, but because it's debuff, it's clearly into the Ferrothorn favor, and we are seeing that the Ferrothorn is carrying Thunder and Mirror Shot. So this is spice.
Oh, and it looks like there's going to be a no shield on this Thunder either. That's going to hurt
Oh yes,
Howie.
that's huge.
Yeah, definitely. It's time to stop. Basically needing to all in now on this Drifloon. Expect to see both of these
Yeah.
shields used on this. Okay, opting for the Icy Wind here.
The question is, can he farm down the Talonflame at this stage?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to evaluate as well. Is if you do invest both shields on this fast move after the Icy Wind, there is it reasonable to go for the farm down, but not investing that second shield, maybe wanting to save that for the Ferrothorn after this Talonflame has been resolved. Um, Certainly going to let the Talonflame go here, opting for the shield.
Oh. Shielding because
Oh, able to get to the
oh
move there.
oh that's really nice counting on both sides here, and barely surviving.
Definitely, yeah. And ooh, those incinerates hurt that Ferrothorn.
Yeah, each incinerate was huge, and he has a crunch on the Drapion. No
Definitely no
shield,
shielding. Very, very bold decision.
and going for the Thunder again, which is a smart play as well because he didn't reveal the mirror shots.
That's very true. Actually, being able to keep that second move
Ooh,
hidden, we're going to see it here, though, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And even with that extra shield, I think that even if Howie was able to get to a move there first, pretty much in the books there for it's time to stop. But taking off to a pretty early lead in our games here is Team Fanny. We'll have to see what kind of adjustments Howie wants to make. You know, in factions, every single one of these games matter. So going down two in the first two games, if you can cobble together that third win to make it a little bit easier on the rest of your teammates, that's certainly a good spot to be. But we'll have to see how we can make these adjustments in this third game.
Definitely, and with a 3 point lead here for Fanny, I think it's really important for wasted potential to try to grab a point. So pressure on Aoi.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure on Howie to try to stem this bleeding to get it to stop somewhere. We don't see
And
quite as
again,
disastrous of a lead, but it's still certainly not a
yeah.
great one to be.
Ooh, and you know you're in trouble when you swapped a Machamp to a Politoed into a Galv.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Certainly not a good spot to be. And we do see that that third Mon in the back there for Howie is that Drapion again, if I'm not seeing things, but definitely not where you want to be
yeah,
if you're
this
Howie.
time shielding the discharge and nice timing, and Politoed is really bulky and really spammy as we all know, and didn't you put some pressure? So ooh,
Definitely, yeah.
and
You know, even these nerfed weather balls are still enough to take chunks out of this Galvantula here. Okay, so Howie opting to just completely sack the Politoed to help put some damage on this Galvantula here, and then basically gets his pick of the litter on terms of what he wants to get the
yeah,
farm on. I think Machamp
I,
probably
I
the
I
solid
mean.
choice.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense. And here comes the drift blame. This time he's going to go for the bait. There is no reason. It's time. Oh, it's time to stop calling the bait. Oh my God.
That's a pretty hard
I was
call.
I was I was about to say that it was didn't make sense to no shield, but he did, and with reason there.
Definitely a
Um,
great call. I think that I shield that 100% of the time if I'm in it's time to stop shoes. So, an incredible call living in Howie's mind here, kind of rent free in this third game. And, Drapion again finds itself in a matchup that it's not super stoked about.
Yeah, definitely. And the earthquake will hurt, and I guess you might need, in a way, to farm down the Gfisk to have slightly chance in there.
Yeah, definitely. But this you got to shield this or else it's just lights out, no?
Yeah, yeah. You have to shield the EQ, and the Drift Blim still has to shield. So I really don't think it's going to be possible in there.
No, I don't think that
Yeah,
even with 100 energy, this would be too big of a mountain for this Machamp to overcome.
and this Shadow Ball is going to KO and to give another point to the Polish team. So
Yeah,
they take a
definitely.
4 point lead after 2 games. So that's a really comfortable advance in there.
Definitely a great spot to be for the Polish team here. Certainly have their Great League and Ultra League specialists in very comfortable positions. Obviously, very comfortable with their respective formats. But hopping into the Master League matchup, of course, we still want to show both of these players, very talented players. This matchup was predetermined or was determined by a by Silph referee. But of course, we want to see what the matchups were and what the matchups were played. So we're still going to take a look at them. It's not often that you get to see. Panic Jam in the Master League, very popular content creator on Twitch. And, I took a sneak peek into these games, and they are certainly worth taking a look at. So the matchup was determined to be a 3-0-4 wasted potential side by Silph referee, by Silph staff. But regardless, we definitely want to take a look at how these matchups played out. In terms of Master League, Spleen, do you have a lot of experience in this format, in this, Open
Yeah,
Master League?
I was playing Master League last season, but I'm no grinder for a level 50 legendary, so I basically had zero. And when they announced that we needed to, I just step out of Master League. I think that was the right play on my side. When I look, yeah, like always, Excadrill has a lot of play in this open format. You hold Dialga. You can you beat Gyarados as well. Depending, it's a much easier matchup depending on the moveset. You beat Togeki, so I guess it's a solid pick to start on Braun side. And then he has the Mewtwo. Mewtwo is always a beast, and is like we were just saying before. Mewtwo is probably running Psy Strike, but then the secondary move set, you don't know. It could go with Ice Beam. It could go with Shadow Ball. Could go with a Flamethrower. So
Definitely.
with Focus Blast. So that's always. That's the kind of mons that are really interesting to use in Silph. Same with Gyarados. You could go with a Waterfall or a Dragon Breath one. So I'm looking forward to this. I must say that a Shadow Ball Mewtwo makes sense here, but it means that it's a double legacy one. So
Definitely, yeah, a very, very expensive investment in terms of those elite TMs that are so far and few between. But Mewtwo definitely a signature Pokemon in this format, as you'd expect canonically with Pokemon. When you're playing the format with the most powerful Pokemon, you'd expect to see one of the most powerful Pokemon that they've released in the game. And Silph making this adjustment into these two legendary Pokemon in this Master League, while it has opened the doors for a lot of creativity with building on what you can bring for your legendaries, we do often see that Mewtwo just paired with whatever the flavor of the month is, whether it be a Zacian, whether it be this Giratina altered origin form rather that just happened to come back for those XL candies and raids there. Mewtwo is most often going to be the pillar of this format. But of course, like you mentioned, Excadrill as well. This is a great Pokemon to just bring and to just you need an answer to this. You will lose. This Pokemon will sweep your team. You need an answer. So, very, very happy to see how these games play out. Always happy to see those teams that are opting to maybe not run the Mewtwo, maybe take a look at other Pokemon outside of the format. Huge fan of Open Master League. Dialga, while it is a beast in the Go Battle League for this format, definitely not a super common pick in the Silph Show 6 Spring 3 meta. Definitely, it's
yeah, because when you see the Dialga in a show 6 pick 3 format, it's I think much easier to kind of adapt as well to prepare yourself for a Dialga rather than in a blind format just as GBL. Something interesting to note as well is that if we look at Braun's side, he has like the advantage, I guess, for CMPs, unless the Excadrill is a 15 attack, but I don't think so on Sir Panic a lot. Uh, he has the best buddy on the Gyarados, and this Mamoswine as well is higher CP. So those, in case we see some mirror matches, could be useful information and definitely something that those two players noticed before going into the battle.
almost certainly. Myself also playing Master League last cycle, the first thing that you look for is what are the Pokemon I have that I can reliably win CP on in the mirror. And Excadrill is one of those matchups that CP, advantage is so, so, so important. You basically get to decide what you want to do, how you want to play that mirror. You're in control. And being in control on such a decisive Pokemon like that will either eat your shields or eat your Pokemon is always a spot that you want to be. But as much as I love talking about Master League, of course, I love watching it more. So let's hop right into the games here.
Okay, and we see Mamoswine lead into Giratina, so really positive for Braun there. obviously, and we are seeing that the Giratina is carrying the standard moveset Omnis Wind Shadow Ball. It's going
Yeah.
to, Panic is going to shield the Avalanche.
Yeah, certainly. And, staying in here to this matchup, not a lot of other Pokemon to really bring into this Mamoswine lead here on Panic's team. He's got the Togekiss and then the Mamoswine of his own, and, bringing
Yeah, and
bringing in the
committing.
mirror match this late into the game, certainly not really an option.
Yeah, and committing to two shields in there, and it's going for another Shadow Ball, and the Braun is going to shield.
Yeah, definitely. Both players just eating through these shields early, and now Panic happy to come in with the Mamoswine here to try to soak some of that charge move. Try to keep that Giratina at a healthy enough spot where it can still
Yeah,
apply some pressure later on into the game.
going for the Bulldoze and swapping into the Mewtwo. This Avalanche is going to hurt now that there are no shields in play. But I love the play because now the Mewtwo is going to be able to outpace, to farm a bit more. And as you can see, counting is perfect, throwing just before Panic reaching the Avalanche.
Yeah, incredible counting there. And we do see the Focus Blast as the second move on this Mewtwo. I'm always happy to see that Focus Blast come in. I love to see that giant nuke fighting move on this
Yeah,
this
and
legendary Pokemon.
yeah, and because the counting was on top, he was able to take out the Giratina with a Psy Strike.
Absolutely, yeah. But this Mamoswine here going to get to an Avalanche. Togekiss, not a
Yeah,
Pokemon that likes to eat this Avalanche. Definitely a Pokemon that you want to try to have those shields for when you can.
yeah,
And
and that was a Mammoth sweep. So that's going to be interesting to see how Panic is going to adapt in game two.
absolutely,
There
definitely.
to see if he's able to what's going to be the response to the Mamoswine, and on bronze side, Bronka Marichki. Uh, I think it's a, but on his side, it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to adapt, if he's going to go with the same team that was quite successful in game one.
Yeah, definitely. Panic going to need to respect the Mamoswine a little bit more in these next games for sure. But we'll see how the adjustments are made there. And we see the Gyarados mirror
Ooh,
here.
yeah, Gyarados mirror. It's going to be interesting to see the moveset, and they are both running Dragon Breath. But keep in mind that Bronze has the best body on it. So,
Yeah,
oh, I
definitely.
don't think.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
we're
don't think.
looking.
Yeah, I don't think he has the best body.
Yeah, so looking like like we mentioned earlier, the outcome of this matchup was needed Silph referee intervention, and as far as I believe it was due to Pokemon CP registration. When we're playing these highly competitive formats, especially in the top tier in one of the top regions in the world, those small things in registering them, do wind up mattering. So I do believe that was where the intervention was needed by Silph, but still, Gyarados Mirror followed by a Mamoswine Mirror. It doesn't get more Master League than this, and Dragon Breath on those Gyarados before we get too far away. Definitely the most common move you'd expect to see
Yeah,
in this
and
format.
interesting play in Panic side because he tried to swap uh, to avoid being farmed down. Here he's going to tank the Psy Strike. Ooh, barely surviving. That's huge.
That is big. That is big, but that is quite a tank. Mewtwo, such a mammoth in terms of delivering the damage to this mammoth.
Ooh, and he has a second Avalanche.
Yeah,
So
going to
this time
demand
he's
a
going
shield
to
now.
yeah, this time he's going to grab a shield.
And we see that Dialga in the back there for Panic as well. Now, can
Yeah,
this farm
Dialga in
down
the
before the
back.
Mewtwo? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go for the Psy Strike. Didn't show the Focus Blast or another move, so shielding the Dialga. And what is in the back?
Yeah,
And
we've
it's
got
a Mamoswine.
Yeah, so the Dialga here, likely has the tools to help close this game out. Panic does have that Gyarados in the back with almost no health as well, so we'll see if he tries to go for a catch here. That's quite the
Oh,
catch, getting the bulldoze as well.
oh, amazing! Really beautiful catch from Panic, catching the bulldoze and securing the win here. Throwing this Iron Head to KO the Mamoswine. Amazing catch. And if you see what high level players are doing, is that he didn't try to catch on the move. He wait because he knew that his opponent knew in a way that his win con was to catch the bulldoze. So that's like
Yeah,
five-head plays.
the layers of mind games just keep stacking up and stacking up. It's always great
Yeah,
to see when you
exactly.
can tell that a player needs a catch and his opponent knows that they need a catch, and instead they just bash each other until one of them dies and no one winds up throwing. It's always like a game of chicken in terms of when you want to throw versus when you want to catch. And it's often people make jokes about you just got to feel it, but this is definitely a spot when you just needed to feel it. So we can hop right into game three here, and we'll see how these players are going to make their adjustments now in terms of some of those Pokemon movesets being a little more common knowledge. But as you mentioned in the second game, this Focus Blast is still hidden information.
Yeah, exactly. And this time we have the Mewtwo against the Dialga. So let's say a pretty very neutral matchup. Going for the Iron Head on Panic side.
Now, if you're Panic
And
in this situation and you see the shield invested, are you more likely to invest a shield of your own now to expect that Focus Blast?
that's a gamble in a way. He called the bait and swapping into the Gyarados here.
Definitely a great bait call. Always, if that happened to be a Focus Blast that was getting no shielded, that would have been the end of the road for that poor little Dialga there.
Yeah. Now he has to shield because the Psy Strike will take out the Gyarados. And easy, yeah. Unfortunately, it's a CMP, so really well played by Braun there.
Yeah, definitely a good spot to be, and able to save that Mewtwo for later on. So, much like in Game 2, how we saw Panic save that
Mm.
Gyarados for a potential sack swap, we're going to see the same thing here from Braun.
Yeah, and throwing this Aqua Tail just before fainting for some cheap damage.
Definitely a good spot to be in. If even if it's just a small amount and not very effective Aqua Tail, any kind of chip in these big Master League matchups certainly matters.
Yeah, this crunch is going to hurt the Dialga, and the Dragon Breath are going to put some pressure. So Panic switching into the oh
Yeah, quick shield, not even thinking about it. After eating the energy of that crunch, swapping into the Mamoswine here, Panic's kind of all in on this Mamoswine now. So, um, good counting by Panic there, making sure that he throws this
yeah,
move before the Gyarados gets to another charge move. They are going to be able to take it out. Braun going to want to save that second shield here for the Mamoswine mirror.
yeah. But here comes the Mamoswine. Uh, Probably going to shield here. Yes, going to
Definitely.
shield.
But does Panic outpace it? Oh no, not even a little bit. Oh,
He's going for another avalanche.
okay. Definitely a little bit interesting. Not quite enough. Ooh,
Ooh.
and I think that I saw that Panic was looking for a swap there too to try to maybe catch this avalanche, but wound up throwing maybe
Yeah,
even just a turn too late.
trying to undercharge it. Oh, and with 1 HP, reaching the avalanche to KO.
Absolutely, and that Mewtwo in the back there almost certainly didn't have enough health to survive the Dragon Breath from that Dialga. So, very well played by both players. But as we mentioned before, that this was a match that required referee intervention. So the overall result was a 3-0 towards the wasted potential player Panic's side, leaving our grand total matchups here going into the field specialist matchups at 5-4. in favor of Fani Kushiego. So without further ado, we can hop right into some of the specialist matchups. We're going to be starting off with Comet, the new kid on the block, and then transitioning to end our broadcast off with Twilight. Definitely a more common entity there in that one. But one of those players that we talked about at the very beginning, 23 EJB, the Austrian powerhouse. This guy's he's pretty good at Pokemon battling. I think that anybody that's had the displeasure of being on the opposing side understands that sometimes he knows something that someone else doesn't, and he's able to get through these extra wins here. And the one thing that I love about this format, Spleen, is I love seeing some of these Pokemon that maybe don't often get their time in the spotlight. This is the chance where they get to shine. We see a Malamar, we see a Celio, a Pokemon we so often see normally in the Shadow variant, but definitely not a Pokemon that pops into your head right away when you think of like really good Great League Pokemon. What do you think of these two teams?
I mean, two very good teams. There is a Dragonite on nicknames side, which is a fairly interesting mon. To be honest. Same with the Malamar. If we go for a spice, and I guess looking at the two teams, they are fairly balanced team. Both with the Vigoroth, which is in my opinion the king of the meta, and a bit like always when you can use Vigoroth in a meta is usually go to Mon. Interesting as well to see the they are both carrying Ninetales, which is very powerful in this meta, and they are both carrying a Alolan Raichu. So quite interesting as well, because the Raichu has the access to Wild Charge, and you could see a strategy of leading with the Raichu, Wild Charging, and Deep, depending on the opposing lead. So quite interesting as well to see the Mew. So PvPoke recommends to run it with Volt Switch in Comet, but there is always this question mark on the fast move and the charge moves from the Mew, and obviously could have a great role to play here in this game as well for EJ.
Yeah, definitely. Mew, there's a lot of discourse over Mew in this format and which move set is the best. PvPoke recommends Volt Switch. I'm a huge fan of Volt Switch. There's a lot of different charge moves that you can rock in this meta as well to a very successful result. But as you mentioned, Alolan Raichu in this format, because a lot of the eyes were on in early discourse and comment, were on that Vigoroth and trying to build the strongest core around the Vigoroth. There were a lot of talks about Drifloon. There were a lot of talks about Wigglytuff. These types of that really solid core that anybody who was playing in Floating City may have been a little familiar with. But Alolan Raichu here offering a lot of options as a lead and offering a lot of options as a closer. This
Yeah,
Pokemon gets to
definitely.
those wild charges so fast, and if you lose those shields early, this Pokemon will come in and take your lunch money like it's nobody's business. So a very flexible Pokemon. Lapras as well in this format. There was a lot of discussion early on about, you do get a lot of just raw matchup data in the favor of Lapras if you're running that water gun, but a lot of players having these legacy moves, certainly not wanting to swap them out. So I expect to see something a little more standard here. And of course, as you mentioned, Dragonite certainly an oddball pick. Definitely the regular Dragonite is not one that you'd expect to see in any format a lot of the times, especially in the Great League, opting for those shadow
Yeah,
Pokemon
but
for that fast move pressure.
it's a very interesting one. I faced one last bout, and honestly, if you pick the most common picks in Comet, usually you have very few answer to the Dragonite. So if you place it, if you line up correctly the Dragonite, you can do a ton of damage. Then it's squishy as hell, but it's a fun one to play. I'm personally I'm looking forward to some Malamar action,
Oh, me too.
because I think he has a great role to play in this meta.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And just again, some closing thoughts before we transition into the games. The Malamar lead here looks really, really solid from nickname, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of it. And I do expect EJ to, maybe rely on some of those flexibility of that Mew move set. How he wants to position that Alolan Raichu as well could also, take come into play quite heavily.
yeah, exactly. And Malamar looks really good as a lead because it even outpaced the Raichu to the wild charge, which frankly not a lot of mons can do so, and that's quite interesting to see.
Definitely. Psycho Cut, a very good fast move. Well, we'll hop right into the games. Just to let everybody know ahead of time, there was a recording issue with EJ. So for game two, we're only going to be taking a look at nicknames point of view. But we'll hop right into it and see what these players decide to do. There is
Yeah,
that
and
Malamar
leading
lead.
Malamar into the Vigoroth. So it's a much let's say it's a much neutral matchup that you could expect here. Obviously, the Malamar has access to the superpower, which is going to do a ton of damage into the Vigoroth, but the Vigoroth is doing some neutral counter and charging quite fast.
Yeah, definitely. A
Good.
huge fan of this play as well on these Pokemon that do run those moves like Close Combat, like Superpower, especially when you've got fast charge move, or rather fast move that charges up so fastly, just doubling up, tossing both, and then, saving that Malamar for a rainy day here. Happy to come in now with that weakened Vigoroth into the Vigoroth mirror, where he can eat this Bulldoze no problem. Or not Bulldoze, Body Slam, but
Yeah,
opting for the shield
body slam.
regardless.
Yeah, shielding and farming down. And swapping these Vigoroths. That's interesting. And we see the Mew.
Yeah, so uh,
It looks like a Shadow Claw Mew, but
I don't
AJ maybe
think so. I
can
think that looks like a
confirm.
poison jab? Question mark. I'm not too familiar with
I
these Mew
poison jab.
animations.
It's a poison jab Mew.
Poison jab Mew. Okay, so like we mentioned in the discussions, EJ often lives on a different planet in terms of his team building, just knowing a little bit more than anybody else does here. Surely this poison jab Mew was simmed a dozen times, play tested against a dozen different teams here, and putting in a little bit of work here, going to definitely take out this Malamar before it can get to another move.
This is super spice, the poison jab Mew. And
Oh,
we see the
definitely.
Dragonite in the back, but he has a perfect answer with the Raichu and bonus point for the shiny
Yeah,
Raichu in there.
definitely. This is one of those Pokemon that's, the shiny variant looks pretty clean on. Often, there's a lot of criticism towards the Pokemon shiny variants being kind of uninspired a lot of the times, but this is certainly one that looks very, very clean here. And the Dragonite opting for Dragon Tail rather than Dragon Breath. Certainly
Oh,
the path less traveled, so to speak.
yeah, and yeah, this is going to KO and barely reaching the body
Wow.
slam to win that game. That's huge.
A very,
That's
very,
huge.
very tight game. Now, if
And
that was a Dragon Breath Dragonite, is the
yeah,
Dragonite able to get there?
I think that if it was a Dragon Breath, he would have won the game.
Definitely.
Uh,
So, EJ, happy to see the Dragon Tail on that game. We'll hop right into game two here, and again, just nicknames point of view, but we'll see how these players decide to make their adjustments.
yeah. So this time, Raichu leads and both shiny Raichu.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting. And we are seeing that nickname is carrying Tether Punch, Wild Charge as well. And yeah, going for the sneak. That's huge.
Absolutely, getting rewarded for it as well. So, we are likely to see this EJ's Raichu just hop out of there after that wild charge, but getting the sneak back through, and then just eating that there. So, still a bunch of energy. He's going to bank that wild charge, come in with the Vigoroth here to meet the Mew. And, I'll be honest with you, Spleen, it might come as a surprise to you. It might come as a surprise to a lot of people in chat. I don't know the Poison Jab Mew matchup at all. So,
Me neither. I've never seen a poison jab Mew at all. So thanks for that, EJ. That's pure spice, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's something that looking. We have this spicy poll that is done by MEA factions,
Oh,
and
certainly.
unfortunately, looking at the teams, you don't know the spicy move set, but that will definitely have a worse mention in there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's almost unfortunate that we can't register movesets with Silph just to flex those unorthodox movesets. But that Vigoroth coming in, getting handily dealt with by this Mandibuzz there. And, EJ opting for Mandibuzz, everybody's favorite Great League Pokemon. Um, opting to shield
Yeah,
the Raichu there too.
shielding is able to throw a move, and Raichu is going to die with quite some energy to the foul play, and in the back, Mew against the Dragonite.
Definitely here. Now, these Dragon Tails certainly hurting. The Dragonite going to have to invest the shield here.
Going for the surf, charging a bit more. Ooh,
I guess
he
Poison
got
Jab Mew is the
great.
future.
Yeah, I think nickname got a bit greedy here. He wanted to have a back-to-back Dragon Claw, so that he could threaten the shield on the Mandibuzz and KO, but that wasn't enough.
Definitely not quite getting there. And EJ, with this Poison Jab Mew, hopping off to an early lead here, a 2-0 start in this Comet uh, specialist meta.
Again, a good lead for nickname with the Dragonite into the Vigoroth, but he will have to use shields if he wants to preserve the lead.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that when you're leading the Dragonite, if you get into a spot where you're not swapping out right away, especially when you've got a really reliable pivot like that Malamar in the back, I expect to see a nickname just invest the shields early to win the switch, to get some extra energy on his Dragonite to help dictate where he wants alignment.
Ooh. And that's huge on EJ's side, barely surviving the Dragon Claw, and putting a ton of pressure on the Dragonite. So he's going to be able to throw to throw the Dragon Claw. Will EJ shield? He does, and he's going to farm down. And we see the K9 in the back and the Raichu.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's twice now in this matchup that we've seen those IVs on that Vigoroth come in handy. I'm pretty sure that's twice now that if that Vigoroth was a few ranks lower, that would have been lights out for the old Punch Monkey there. So we do see the K9 into the HU matchup here. The Raichu going to basically die to everything, so happily to invest the
Yeah,
shield here.
he has to shield, and he's going to farm down there, going for the Thunder Punch bait,
Gets the shield here.
gets the shield, and going for another Thunder Punch. Will it be enough to KO? That's the question.
Yeah, Alolan Raichu hurts a lot, but
Oh,
that Thunder Punch just doesn't have enough move there. But the follow-up Volt Switch able to deal with it before EJ can get to a move there on his K9.
oh, and really nice play by EJ here, letting the ooh, and will he survive the Dark
I
Pulse
don't know
here?
if he
It's going to
does.
be a stab Dark Pulse.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
foul
he
play there.
doesn't.
Absolutely dealing with the Mew. Mew certainly not a Pokemon renowned for its bulk. Regardless of how spicy the moveset is, you certainly don't want to be taking super effective stab moves there. And nickname able to even up the score here, 6-6 across the board as
Yeah,
we transition into the rest of the field specialists.
and quite interesting. EJ's play here, deciding not to throw with the K9 so that he could farm in order to avoid the Malamar to be able to grab even more energy to threaten the Mew. So quite interesting. It's the second time we are seeing after those two players stopped tapping in Ultra League. It was so. Some tips for the viewers. Sometimes it could be worse to just lose in order to farm down with another mon, especially in end game scenarios.
Definitely. And you see these top tier battlers, some of the best on the planet at what they do, able to identify the scenarios when they don't want to be the ones getting farmed down very, very, very fast, making those decisions on the fly. But we'll go ahead and hop right into our follow-up comment matchup here. We've got
Yeah,
Wicharik versus Yanni. 4, 3, 2, 1. We see some familiar faces here that we just saw in that last game, but a couple of new guests as well in the Diggersby and the Frostlass on Yanni's side.
Yeah, definitely, and this is why I do like Comet as well. Is that you have, even if let's say the meta is quite restricted, you have some really nice picks. You could go with Pokemons like Cress or Mandibuzz or Diggersby. You could go for a Spammymons. You can play the two Ninetales in the same team, so quite interesting to see here as well. The Mew moveset. It's going to be interesting to see if it's a Vol Switch Mew. Basically, has no play against the Diggersby, for example. Um, Quite interesting to see, frankly.
Yeah, definitely. And
Mm.
Comet is certainly one of those formats. It's a little bit harder to evaluate how the matchups are going to play on paper because these Pokemon matchups into each other do get so polarized. And, depending on move sets, do happen to get, very back and forth. But, I mean, you mentioned Cresselia earlier, and it is always very rare to see a format where that Pokemon is allowed for play, but not see it at all. And we see here on both teams for Comet, no Cresselia showing up. But Diggersby on Yanni's side there, I don't know about you, but I've seen a few Hyper Beams on this Pokemon before.
Yeah, definitely. And Hyper Beam has definitely its place in the meta. And once again, we were talking about the importance of the charge moves, of the fast move in those formats where you can adapt as well. Seeing the opponent team, I'm curious. I looking at Jani's team. The K9 looks really good and can
Yeah.
really threaten everything except maybe the Talonflame. But I mean, even the Talonflame doesn't want to take Shadow over it
Yeah.
from the K9. So I think the K9 could have a lot of play here if can grab some energy, if can trap some mons. And do you really want to play the A9, for example, if you see on the opposing team K9? So that's a big question.
Yeah, definitely. That's like you mentioned, the Shadow Canine Overheat is going to maul anything that Witcherick has decides to bring in against it. So I do think that Shadow Ninetales has a lot of play, and then we might see an opportunity where Yanni can get some added bonuses in terms of hiding those move sets if that Mew doesn't show up for game one. If that Diggersby
Yeah,
doesn't reveal the potential Hyper Beam in game one, applying additional bench pressure that these Pokemon already are applying in these games. So we can
yeah,
go ahead
and
and
frankly, I could put a coin on Hyper Beam Diggersby because if you look, I mean, Earthquake could be interesting for the Raichu, but even if you throw a Fire Punch, you will likely grab a shield, and you could even go Hyper Beam Earthquake maybe. So I don't know. Let's
absolutely,
see.
yeah. The Hyper Beam on the Diggersby turning into a little bit of a budget Chansey there, a President's Choice Chansey, so to speak. So we'll go ahead and talk. We'll see how these games turn out, and we'll see how these players decide that they want to navigate the game one when you've got these flexible Pokemon, these flexible move sets. Hidden information is very very important thing.
Yeah, and leading Gianni leading with the K9 as expected, and on Viscerek's side, he goes with the Raichu,
Definitely,
going
yeah.
for the Weather Ball here on Gianni's side. Shield coming on Witcherek.
Yeah, I think a very smart shield here with Witcherek not throwing the move. I think that Weather Ball, despite being a nerfed Weather Ball on a very low damage move, is still going to hurt coming from this K9 onto this HU. Able to swap right away though and catch the
Ooh.
second move on the Mandibuzz. That's really
Mm,
nice.
yeah, that's very nice. He has a punch, if I'm correct, stored on the right shoe, and here comes the Vigoroth save swap on Gianni's side.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks to the dark typing on that Mandibuzz, these counters hurt the bird a little more than you would expect. Counters to affect those flying type Pokemon. And we're likely to see both of these players just eat up these charge moves one way or another and reserve that last shield for some of their Pokemon in the back.
Okay, it's Vierek. Okay, perfect. Thanks, chat. And because the Mandibuzz is carrying foul play, it's going to favor the Vigoroth in this 1-to-1 scenario or even zero scenario.
Yeah, definitely. And, correctly recognizing that, getting the Vigoroth low enough to get some farm, though, potentially on a Vigoroth of his own, if that's what he opts to do here. Just coming in with the Alolan
Ooh,
Raichu,
coming with
dedicating
the
that
right
second
show.
shield.
Yeah, shielding. Now he has a bunch of energy on the right shoe, but I'm seeing a Diggersby on Gianni's side. And
Yeah.
he's carrying the hyper beam.
Yeah, definitely. If there's a player that's going to do it, Yanni's certainly the one that's going to do it. Especially with the battles being here live streamed for everyone to watch. There's nothing that he would pay more for than to get an opportunity to hyper beam for the crew. So we'll see if he gets a chance to. This Canine gonna do some damage to this Vigoroth though. Those weather balls hurt.
Yeah, it hurts, and he's going to take down barely unable to farm down, throwing the body slam,
Yeah, no hyper beam
and
here.
Gianni finishing with the fire punch here. And I think it's a smart play as well to unreveal what is the last move. And here Vierek throwing the wild charge, but that's game over, as you
Not
can
very
see.
effective indeed. Yeah, and Yanni
Yeah,
correctly identifying that the fire punch is going to be enough to close this game out. If there's a move that you want to keep hidden going into game two, game three, it is certainly going to be a hyper beam on your Diggersby. But
and we have a huge rate from Butters. Thank you for the rate
oh,
and
thank you so much,
welcoming
Butters.
viewers.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are covering the EMEA cycle for Diamond Tier, not Platinum. Fani Kushiego versus Wasted Potential. If you're just hopping in, we just finished up Game 1 from Comet with Vieric versus Yanni 4321. We're going to hop right into Game 2, though. We don't want to keep all the new viewers waiting. And let's see some adjustments here. We see the Frostlass come in here now
Ooh.
against the Vigoroth.
Yeah, and a good lead for Gianni against Vierek this time, and swapping into the Mew.
Yeah, and we see the more standard Mew moveset there. No poison jabs this time. It's certainly not something we'd expect to see twice in a row. We see the more standard Shadow Claw there on Mew with the Surf, with the Wild Charge. This is
Yeah,
the OGL Mew, so to speak, the typical lineup.
an interesting move on Gianni, throwing the Shadow Ball to take the shield and swapping out into the Vigoroth. That's going to spam this body slam.
Definitely, yeah. Here and just a good way to get some use out of the Vigoroth. You know that you don't want it to eat too much from this Mew. Mew does apply a lot of damage, but of course the fast move pressure from this Vigoroth is just huge. So happy
Yeah,
to eat some of the Mew
and
energy. Gonna get a body slam here
tanking,
too.
yeah, tanking the wild charge and taking out the Mew. And Gianni is like sitting comfortably right now. Still has two shields. He has 3 months, so he's in a very good spot.
Yeah, definitely a good spot. And those two shields, no matter where they go, whether it be on that Canine, whether it be on that Frostlass, now that he's seen the third
Ooh,
Pokemon here too, he's gonna be happy to do it either way, right?
yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, he couldn't throw there. The couldn't throw the body slam. He's going to tank this foul play, no problem. And now for the Mandibuzz, oh, he's going straight weathable, even not faking
Hmm.
the potential over it.
Yeah, definitely an interesting decision. I think that if you're Vitcherik, oh wow,
Ooh, this is a nice catch, catching from Vierek, catching the weathable on the Vigoroth and swapping Gianni swapping into the Frostlass right away.
yeah, definitely knows where it knows where he wants this Frostlass, knows that he wants it on this Vigoroth. Yanni, saving these shields for next week, I suppose. Here, happy to just stockpile them up. I do think that, as you mentioned earlier, the early advantage that Yanni was able to get from this early game, probably just a little too much to overcome here
Yeah,
from Vierik.
yeah, and even if he has two foul play for Vierek, Frost still has two shields. Oh,
Yeah, definitely. And just going to invest everything onto this Shadow Canine. Um, as scary as it is to have two shields into a Mandibuzz and use none of them on your Frostlass, when your backup plan is having two shields for a Shadow Canine, I guess that's
yeah,
also
but
pretty fine.
really well play on Gianni, recognizing that his win con was like to fast move down the Mandibuzz that was just loaded and just in a way use the shields as an incentive for Vielek to farm even more and taking a 2 point lead, which is huge.
Oh yeah, definitely. Absolutely very huge. And that is a very, very good point. Those shields apply pressure in multiple different ways. And in this case, just basically forcing Vierik into a spot where he has to just keep trying to apply those fast move pressure, sort of like an uphill climb that you're just never going to make it to the mountain's peak. So we'll hop right into game three. Vierik going to need to make some adjustments here. That's two games in a row where the alignments just haven't lined up in a meaningful way.
Yeah, this time Mandy Buzz into the Vigoroth, so definitely a neutral matchup. The Mandy Buzz should win the zero. The Vigoroth should win the one shield scenario because it's a foul play, a Mandy Buzz.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see the onus is kind of on Yanni here to decide if he wants to invest those early shields. I expect that Vieira will just be totally fine eating up these body slams, and the Mew and the Talonflame in the back, while not on paper quite as catastrophic matchups for Vigoroth as they could be, they certainly don't want to be tanking any of these body slams. So if he can get this Vigoroth low, eat up the charge moves on this Mandibuzz, he's going to be a-okay. But there's a lot of energy on the Mandibuzz to just let go here.
Yeah, but he's letting that go. Could be a mistake, as you are saying. It was a lot of energy, but he has the Talon Flame this time.
Yeah, opting to come in with the Talonflame here. Going to have to shield a Body Slam here, almost surely, correct? I can't imagine. All right, Vierik,
Ooh,
happy to eat the Body Slam too. Maybe going all in on this Mew, but the back line of Yanni here, being that Shadow Canine, being that Diggersby, Shadow Claw Mew versus Diggersby, is almost as bad as Volt Switch.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so it might be a bit better, but yeah, it's going to be rough. Gianni has two shields. It's going to go straight for the Brave Bird here, landing the Brave Bird and swapping and into the Mew and Gianni answering with the K9.
Definitely, and even though these Surfs are going to be super effective against the Shadow Canine, they are going to hurt. Yanni has the shield advantage, and Mew can't just sit around and tank these Fire Spins from the Shadow Canine. These are going to add up. Yanni's on the second Weather Balm now too. Can eat through both of the shield rather and the Mew if he wanted to. Yeah,
Yeah, tanking the move and now throwing the Surf and Gianni is going to shield that, and now he has like a lot of energy, and he's
yeah.
going to go for the overeat.
Definitely. I think, when you've got this much, when you're suffering from success like this, just throw the big move. If you get the shield, you win. If you don't get the shield, you still win. Definitely a decent spot to be if you're Yanni. Certainly a low Talon Flame into a, more than 50%
Oh,
Diggersby is a reasonable spot to be.
ooh, CMP tying here for the Brave Bird.
This Brave Bird will be enough to take out this Diggersby. Yeah.
Yeah, it's enough, but unfortunately, I ooh,
Yeah. Having the Weather Ball
Gianni
basically ready
reaching
there.
the weather ball. Really nicely played by Gianni here. I mean, in
Absolutely.
total
Yeah.
control.
Of course, but Vieira there, despite losing so much energy on that early Mandibuzz, able to cobble together a very, very, very close game. Despite the 3-0 for Yanni's side there, it can't be said enough how good both of these battlers are, and how well that Vieric piloted, this game three in particular from such a deficit of losing all of that energy on that Mandibuzz.
Yeah,
Two
I,
charge moves
I,
basically down the
I
drain.
yeah, exactly. And I think that Vielek has had like a great game plan for this last game, putting bringing the Talonflame and knowing that if he could farm with the Talonflame, he could threaten basically the entire back line there. But like losing so much energy on the Mandibuzz was huge. So I don't know if it was a bit of lag or if he lost counts. Uh, but yeah, that was a bit of pity.
Yeah, definitely an interesting decision to be sure. But and now we step away from the Comet and we transition into Twilight. One of my favorite formats that I think I've ever played in a Silph meta. These very, very small condensed format. With this one, you can only play Poison, you can only play Fairy, Dark, and Ghost. That's all you got. Very, very condensed, very narrow meta. So when it comes to players' team building with a lot of these, choices that they have. I mean, you can even see it here on Genji and Mega Snorlax's team. The flexibility where you normally wouldn't expect there to be a lot. When you think in OGL senses, I've got a Poison Jabber. Okay, I've got my Nidoqueen. Nothing else is comparable. I've got, my, dark Pokemon. Okay, I've got Umbreon and Mandibuzz, whatever it may be. But when you're forced to start bringing overlap because of how narrow the meta is, it starts to open up sort of new paths for creativity. And you see despite Skuntank, Quillfish, and Tentacruel offering a lot of the same function on this team, they still provide their own varying different sets of tools into the metagame, which is always great to see from these smaller formats.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I remember playing Twilight. That was actually my first Silph Cup. And what was really interesting at that time, it was really pure RPS Cup, especially with Umbreon and A9 being so strong. But with the poison buff, I think it's a much more interesting cup. And as you are saying, what is interesting is that we are talking about, let's say, about poison type mons, but they could run other fast move or other charge moves. Thinking about the Quillfish, for example, we could have a water gun Quillfish. Quillfish has access to Aqua Tail, to Ice Beam, to Sludge Wave, to Acid Spray. So I mean, same with the skunk tank. I mean, it could be a bite skunk tank. I don't recommend that, but that could be a case. So I mean, a lot of potential as well for Spice. Seeing the Mywall in there, is it going to be a Fire Fang? Is it going to be an Ice Fang? Mywall. So interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely, and I do think that the Ice Fang is a little more of the standard move set here on Mawile in this format. I think a lot of my love for this format maybe comes from a point where I didn't have to play it when it was the hard RPS back in the olden days. The new kid on the block, so I get to experience it for the first time here, and there's nothing more I love to see in Pokemon Go PvP than two Pokemon with the fast move Poison Sting button heads at each other until one of them faints very slowly. So, I'm happy to see how these players make these adjustments. In terms of how the teams line up, it is very hard to get a really solid identity on a path to success in this format just because there is so much overlap between these Pokemon's function. But in terms of where you think the advantage lies, Spleen, it is worth noting that in order for Fani here to pull out a victory in this bout, we are going to need to see a 3-0 from either of these Twilight players.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the Frio and the 2-1 will make it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But in terms of this bout here in specific, if you had to point a finger towards which team you think has the advantage, where do you think it's going?
That's really harsh. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Engineer has like basically we can say five poison types. Even if Dragalge is more, let's say, maybe more a dragon rather than a poison type. So I don't see Azu with a lot of play there. I think that the two dark types could have some play, but they need to avoid the A9. So that could be the key on his side, on Mega Snorlax side.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm biased. I'll open the door and just say how biased I am. I would love to see a 3-0 for Y Mega Snorlax. Get this Gengineer guy out of here. We're about to see game one, game two, and game three, the worst recording quality you've ever seen in your life, courtesy of Wasted Potential here. So make sure you keep your eyes to this side.
Yeah, and we see the Beedrill into the Golbat, so a good lead for the engineer here.
Definitely, yeah, certainly a very, very good way to shape it up here.
And going for the Poison Fang and definitely swapping out into the Skunk Tank.
Now, Shadow Skunk Tank, one of those Pokemon I don't have a lot of experience with on personally. How much can this Pokemon take? Well, clearly not very much. Never mind getting my own question answered there for me. Not very
Yeah,
effective indeed.
yeah, but it's interesting. He's carrying Sludge Bomb and Crunch, so no Flamethrower on the Skunk Tank. And now he's going to shield. He's going to farm a bit more, and he's going to throw right before the Alolan Mike reaching his next charge move. We see a shield from Mega Snorlax.
Oh,
Oh, and
oh,
nice on the tap on J Engineer side to throw the crunch and to grab the last shield. So
yeah,
will
definitely.
will J Engineer shield? It does to preserve switch.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that that's a very good call when you know that you have such a a positive lead there already in the front. Just maintaining alignment is always going to be a safe way to win. The shield advantage.
Ooh,
Oh,
and we see the Ice Fang my wall, and it's going to we have here a pure example of what you were saying. So Ice Fang is going to be resisted, Poison Jab is going to be neutral on the my wall, and goes for the acid spray.
yeah, definitely an interesting decision there to opt for the acid spray, a move more commonly associated you'd expect to be the bait move to try to get some of those shields down early, but why Mega Snorlax has got no shields at all?
Yeah, it could have gone for definitely for the hydro pump.
Definitely opting just to double down there though and just toss the acid sprays out. Power up punch here, not going to be enough to take out the Tentacruel non-stab resisted. Should be no problem at all here. Yeah, not even a little bit close. And a very very smart immediate swap there just to make sure that he can keep this Shadow Golbat onto the Beedrill. These drill runs do hurt though.
Yeah, because he's shadow, so it's definitely going to hurt. But wing attack is doing a lot of damage, and the shadow ball is going to be enough. And my bad, poison jab is single resisted on
Definitely
the my
there.
wall.
Yeah, so Genji able to just get the alignment that he wanted, able to keep the alignment that he wanted. We saw some really really smart under tapping there. Definitely in a game that's filled with so many mechanics that feel out of our control, just in terms of sneaking, denying, how the state of the game works, it's always nice to see players, able to flaunt their skill in terms of some of the things that we do have control over. So, a very, very good undercharge there, or under tap there by Genji to make sure that he can get both of those shields, maintain alignment the way that he wanted, and able to grab that game one. So, definitely heartbreaking for me. I was hoping to see a 3-0 from the other side here, but oh well, what can I do? We'll hop right into game
Yeah,
two, though.
Engineer promised me some nice plays, so I'm looking forward. If it's only the under tap, I'm not going to be that
Oh yeah, if
happy.
that's all, yeah, if that's what the nice play was, kick rocks, get this guy out of here. That's it. Last time on this stream for sure. But we'll hop into game two. We'll see how these players can make their adjustments in terms of maybe trying to set themselves up for a spot if you're Y Mega Snorlax, where maybe putting yourself where you're at not such an RPS lead. Although it is very difficult, and we see there Y Mega Snorlax happy to just lock in the same team, and we'll see if there's any adjustments made here by Genji.
Yeah, I think you went with the same team.
Yeah, Golbat into Beach again. Certainly,
Yeah,
Genji just daring him to run it back.
I'm going for the Alolan Mark again. Expecting no shield on the Poison Fang, and is definitely probably going to go Skunk Tank right after we saw that play.
Definitely, yeah.
Game one
Yeah, certainly.
is going to be.
We're seeing some like a glitch in the matrix, so to speak. If anybody happens to notice that this is game one repeated and not game two, don't mention it to me. No, you didn't see that. It's a game two. I promise. I made sure. But in these very
Yeah,
narrow
the,
formats, you do see a lot of
and
repeat scenarios like this.
yeah, this time going with a bit different strategy. Mega Snorlax side, letting go the Alolan Mark to come and farm with the Beedrill.
Definitely, yeah, and certainly a good decision. I mean, you definitely don't want to be a spot where you're putting yourself at such a big disadvantage as you were last game. So, why Mega Snorlax, giving us an example on sometimes making adjustments. Those doesn't always just mean the Pokemon that you bring to the battle. There's a lot of micro play adjustments you can make in these games as well. But again, we see the Mawile versus the Tentacruel. This one's a Snorefest. Let's see if we can see a Hydro Pump this time.
Yeah, this time it's they still have one, and he goes for the power up punch, and J Engineer pressing the Hydro Pump this time.
There we go. Yeah, and oh wow, gets the shields. Very, very, good intuition there by Y Mega Snorlax. What I was going to mention is, part of the benefit maybe of saving that information from game one. We went for back-to-back acid sprays. There's a good chance that at least for me, if I'm in Y Mega Snorlax's shoes, you're never going to catch me shielding an acid spray game two. But identifying that there's something
Mm,
else hiding in the dark that's waiting for me to step out and shielding that Hydro Pump.
yeah, and good read as well on J Engineer side, shielding the Ironet, and now
The little bee
ooh,
that could. While these drill runs do hurt, well, despite being resisted, it's
yeah,
not
it's
going to
not
be
going
quite
to be
enough.
enough. And this Poison Fang plus the wing attack should are going to be enough to KO the Beedrill and to offer a 2 point, a 4 point. No, oh yeah, to offer the game definitely for wasted potential because
Yeah,
with 11 points, they are winning the bout, even if
definitely.
they are going to play the rest of the games, of course.
Yeah, certainly. So, like Spleen mentioned, with 11 points, that's all you need to lock up the bout. Even if every other single game is won by players on Fani Kushiego, the result will still just be a 10-11 for wasted potential. But of course, these players are too good not to continue watching the rest of this bout. We've got one more Twilight matchup here between Gengineer and Mega Snorlax, and then we can hop right into Lemur's games versus I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, so I apologize right away, Team Poland. Misiak? No one's corrected me in the
Michelle?
first 10 seconds. I'm correct. But either way, I love Twilight. I'm biased. I want to watch more Twilight matchups, so we can hop right into the game three here and see if Y Mega Storlax can sort of stem this bleeding to bring the set to a little bit
Yeah,
closer of standing.
and this time they changed the lineup, but still positive for J Engineer with the Tentacruel, and we are seeing the Svilos here going to go for the acid spray and probably back out.
Yeah, definitely a good call. Get the debuff, toss into the Skunk tank there. Um, do not disturb on, and we'll see if this is wireless here. Oh, those body slams hurt.
Ooh. Yeah, definitely. He's able to KO the Svilos. He has some energy. Here comes the Mawile and going for the Sludge Bomb.
Definitely, yeah. Sludge bomb here. Oh, even gonna hurt through the single
Ooh.
resistance there, and the Mawile takes a chunk. I gotta say, Ice Fang's gotta be one of the most obnoxious fast moves I've ever seen in this video game. Absolutely belligerent on my screen there, and we see why Mega Snorlax slamming that Mandibuzz.
Yeah. Mandibuzz coming into the Tentacruel. That's going to take another acid spray.
Yeah, and I gotta mention now, as I assume the rest of this at least matchup here. Oh, hopping in and happy to catch this move on the Golbat. This Tentacruel has been such a very, very strong um, pivot point for Gengineer in terms of
Yeah,
having a reliable,
and
safe Pokemon in this matchup.
yeah, he used during the free games double Poison Fang strat, and those debuffs came really handy in the end. Because here, as you can see, it's going to be another Poison Fang debuff, and you cannot really farm down with Snow, so that puts Engineer in a really good position.
Yeah, definitely a very, very good spot to be. And similar to how you mentioned, I feel like that if you had just timed your blinks correctly watching this game, it could almost look like every single one of Engineer's Pokemon are single moved here. We're just seeing the debuff moves come out and the fast move pressure enough to whittle away these Pokemon. So
Yeah.
between Acid Sprays, between Poison Fangs, very, very difficult to keep up here. And we're going to see the Hydro Pump there come out to wrap up this game.
Yeah, and that's a two shield victory for the engineer in this last game, which is quite impressive. And we were talking just before how Double Dark and Vilus Mandibus looked quite nice on Mega Snorlax side, but despite bringing them a no A9 on the engineer side, he really worked well around those two picks.
Yeah, definitely. And that Tentacruel just being such a pillar of reliability in this matchup, super super good for Gengineer. And our last matchup of the day is we're gonna wrap it up here in the Twilight Cup, the way it should be. We've got Jumping Lemur versus Misikak. Is that Mishek? Mishek? I'm North American. I plead ignorance. I'm allowed to butcher things. That's English, not my first language. It's also not my second. I don't not very good with this stuff. But either way, all of my embarrassments on the name pronunciations here aside, I think I'm probably 0 for 6. Oh no, I got Y Mega Snorlax right. I know how to pronounce that one. Mishiek. That sounds way better than what I was saying. Either way, we'll wrap it up in the Twilight Cup here. We got the new Pokemon in town, Dedenne, Shadow Grimer there at 14.99 CP. That certainly was a pretty penny investment as well. And then over on Jumping Lemur side, we have the Alolan Grimer. So the two little brothers there duking it out. Yeah, definitely. And again, to talk about the point here that we talked about when we first got into the Twilight bouts, we have 6 Pokemon in this matchup that kind of in a more open format in like an open great league kind of fit the same function, Grimer, Mux, Viper, Alolan Grimer, Quillfish, and Golbat a lot of the times being almost interchangeable depending on these open formats, but because everything is so tightly packed in Twilight, these Pokemon sort of develop a second layer of usability, and their other functions sort of stand out a little bit more than just being anti-fairy Pokemon. So it's always exciting to see these Pokemon get a little bit of spotlight. Where else are you going to see a Shadow Kanto Grimer get a chance to shine? Um, ooh. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And I've Staying true
Oh,
to staying true. Yeah, don't worry. I already know. Staying true to me and what I do, leaving you on mute through that beautiful assessment on how good Mudslap is. Allow me to steal the credit and talk about how good Mudslap is here. Mudslap on this Kanto Grimer looks very good, Spleen. You heard it from me here first. But Mudslap in this format, I'm a huge Crocodile enthusiast. I love it in this format. I got a chance to let it rip there. Ground moves in a poison format, what can go wrong? But we'll hop right into these games. We only had Lemur's POV for these games, so we're gonna hop into the two-camera view here and hop right into it and see how Lemur can wrap this up for Wasted Potential.
for the Polish team here and swapping into the Toxic Rock, and we are seeing the Mud Slap Kanto Shadow Kanto Mug, and is destroying the Toxic Rock.
Absolutely, just as I predicted myself alone there, the Mud Slap here, an absolute house.
Oh,
Not able to get
and
to that move.
really, yeah, really dying with the move that hurts, because he would have grabbed the second shield. That will have been huge. Obviously, those the mud slaps are not going to do that much against the Golbat.
Definitely, but it's I think that at this point, if you're bringing a mud slap Pokemon in general, you really only need it to do one job. It does that one job very well. You just need it to just absolutely obliterate whatever poison type Pokemon just happens to fall in against it. The Shadow Cancel Grimer doing its job and taking out that Toxicroak, and now the Golbat here happy to clean up the mess.
Yeah, and going for the Shadow Ball here into the mug. Will he grab a shield? He does not grab a shield, and going for another Shadow Ball here.
Back to backs, yeah. And if there's no shield here, this Muck's going to say adios before making any kind of impact here. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and
and he basically sacrificed the mud to soak up all the energy from the Golbat. And if he counted right, he's not going to shield this Poison Fang, and
oh,
ooh, and catching a Poison Fang on the Azure.
yeah, definitely. Hazu's not the Pokemon you want to be catching moves on into a Seviper here, but perhaps with the debuff Seviper, the damage might already be done and the doors might already be closed here. I think that Lemur's probably got
Yeah,
enough to cobble together the win here.
exactly. And he's going to throw the Ice Beam. He's going to grab the last shield, and
Yeah, Golbat
still
almost
has a
certainly going to be
shield.
enough to finish this game up.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah,
Very
he's going
close
to
one.
he's going to shield. Fortunately for the Golbat, the wing attack are not resisted.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to be enough there to close the gate. So that's that Kanto Muck there, not really getting to make too much of an impact. That Pokemon often bringing a lot of the utility to the table, especially in a matchup like Golbat with the access to Thunder Punch. But
Yeah,
didn't punch anything. In fact, there was two hits, and both of those hits put that Muck into the ground. So
yeah, exactly. I think that was like the turning point of this
mhm.
game. And some people are saying in chat. I mean, Mike having access to such a nice move pool with Dark Pulse and Thunder Punch, as it's usually run, I'd like a much better play against the Golbat than the Seviper, for example. So let's say a bit of weird play here from this opponent to run it like that. But I mean, in the heat of the action, you have to take decisions, and he might have think that it was a bait or something like that. And shielding a poison fang when you are a poison type mon, I think it hurts even more.
Yo, definitely, yeah, and that's a very, very good point there. Had Lemur went for a bait that was correctly called by Mish there, that would have been a completely different story, and that Muck would have gotten to deliver the thunder, so to speak. So either way, we'll hop right into game two. We'll see what adjustments are made, but Golbat in that game really showing why it is one of the premier picks in this format, and we will see it a lot when you're looking at Twilight teams. Um, Golbat's a staple among most of them. Let me just make sure that I'm not following up with my own self-embarrassment and we don't have a spleen mute. Yeah, no spleen mute this time. We're good. The friends and family at home can go ahead and hear you whenever you want. But
Yeah.
we see
Now,
some
now that you stole my analysis from the
absolutely,
grinder,
absolutely.
you
It's
can
all
admit.
scripted. I knew it. I hit that delete button as soon as you mentioned mud slap, and I thought that's the money shot right
Ooh,
there.
and we have the two grinders facing each other
Ah, Lemur
in
swapping
this
out right
round.
away though. Come on, no fun. We wanted to
Yeah.
see the little guys duke it out. But Muck in this instance almost certainly going to get to have a bigger impact on this game than it did the last one there.
Yeah, definitely. And we see here the Thunder Punch and Lemur going for the Ice Beam.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned just in the last game about the utility that this Muck brings, having the Thunder Punch for both the Azumarill and the Golbat, really turning this move more into a useful tool rather than just a bait move as it's so often described as.
Yeah, exactly. A very versatile one in there. And now Lemur using the Grimer as to soak up all the energy. And this is smart. He knows that he cannot do anything against the Grimer in the back, so he's like putting all his money on the Golbat.
Yeah, definitely, and probably a good decision. I mean, this Pokemon, I can't sing its praise enough. Very, very okay. Opting to actually invest the shield here in the Alolan Grimer just to try to get some extra use out of
Yeah,
it. Certainly able to farm down.
farming down and being able, I think that the play is to threaten the shield on the Shadow Kantomak, the Grimer, sorry.
Yeah, definitely, and Shadow Pokemon in general not very good at tanking moves.
Ooh,
Shadow Grimer, no
no
exception.
shield, and he got the debuff, and in the back there is the DD.
Yeah, very, very interesting. This Pokemon not out quite enough for me to really understand its matchups into Golbat as well, but certainly if this Golbat with the shield advantage here and these Poison Fangs should have it
Yeah,
no problem.
Poison Fang is definitely going to hurt shielded this time, and the question is, can he build up to two discharge?
Absolutely, certainly going to need it here. The first one. Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
ooh, this is wild.
Yeah. Oh, geez, those moves hurt so much. So,
Ooh,
yeah, easily the second move here. And this Grimer has a move here. I think that this game is, despite being very close here, locked up for Lemur.
ooh, yes, he has a move, and that should be enough. Yes, to KO
Wow.
the Shadow Grimer. Amazing play by Lemur here. Really climbing back from such hard losing lead
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah,
Very nice
definitely.
to play.
Lemur demonstrating why he is one of the best, and why he's able to like you mentioned, cobble together these wins sort of out of the air, in spots that certainly don't look super super great. That Golbat getting absolutely bopped by the discharge there, but still able to get math perfect just enough out of that Grimer to fast move down the Den and have that charge move there to deal with the Shadow Kanto Grimer when it came in. So very excellently piloted
Yeah,
there
and
by.
yeah, those games are definitely my favorite ones. When you lose the lead, you lose the counter swap, and you still win the game. I mean, that's like really when you can be proud of yourself when
Oh,
you do
absolutely,
such a
yeah.
performance.
Yeah, certainly a spot where you are, just happy to remind everybody of why you're so good at what you do well, and we'll hop right into the game three. This is our last game of our broadcast here, so we're going to see if Lemur can clutch out the 3-0. A lot riding on this as well for Lemur, as he is currently, as far as last time I checked, bolstering one of the best win rates in the EMEA faction. So a pretty big game three here for Lemur.
Yeah, and Toxic Rock into the Dragalge. Obviously, those mud bombs are going to it for super effective, and the Dragalge going for the no shield. Ooh, and
Wow.
catching the Aquatail on the Azumarill. Huge play.
Absolutely. This is the Pokemon you want to catch it on. Look at that. No damage whatsoever. The Shadow Grimer coming in here with the Mud Slap. This is certainly where you wish that Pokemon had that Poison Jab instead, but not.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a shadow, so those ice beam are going to hurt. Mud slap charging less faster than the poison jab. Obviously, going for the mud bomb bait.
Just a very the opposites. Sorry, I should say that we saw the last game there, where Lemur sort of had to find his win conditions, out of the ether. Here he kind of just has them presented to him, there for the taking. He's got the silver platter here. Kind of hard to script a
Yeah,
better game.
yeah, and definitely catching the Aquatel was huge for him.
Yeah, definitely. Coming in here with the Toxicroak, going to toss out this Mud Bomb. This Mud Bomb's gonna bring the pain here to this poor Kanto Muck. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
worthy of a shield.
yes, yes to shield. It's a CMP, so it's really unfortunate. Obviously, Toxic Rock is not going to shield. Oh, he undercharge.
Very
That's a
smart
nice play.
undercharge.
But yeah, he still has two shields, and he still has the Golbat in there.
Yeah, two shields and a bat has been the theme of this series, and seems to be doing the business here for Lemur. Golbat can't be mentioned enough. This Pokemon is absolutely insane in this format, especially if you've got a shield advantage, especially if you can line it up against Pokemon that don't have that hard answer to it. And now it's just about sealing the deal. Spleen, is there anything that Mish can do to cobble together this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just impossible. And as it's saying in the chat, and I do agree with El Yamero. I mean, it's probably a misclick because it doesn't make sense to send a Mudslap Grimer into the Azure, and this game should have been different with a Muck swap into the Azure.
Yeah, definitely, and that's actually a very good point. Thanks for the call out there, chat. Misclicks can happen. Those buttons are very very close. I'm awful for it, especially when you
And
have the plan sort of in your head of how you want the game to go and what you're expecting to need to swap into. If a wrench gets thrown in that system, it can make it a little bit harder, and misclicks are a little bit more frequent than you'd like them to be. But still an incredible game from Lemur there, though, an incredible series. When you look at the teams on paper, it was certainly not one that you'd expect to be so heavily in Lemur's favor, just with how much we expected that Mud Slap Grimer to be able to sort of wreak havoc across those teams. But with that said and done, Spleen, that was a very, very decisive way to kind of end it up. We had those Fani Kushiego players pulling off early in those Open Great League, Open Ultra League, and Master League there, but the field specialists from Wasted Potential just able to kind of really, really, really pull it together and secure the win for Wasted Potential.
yeah, definitely. You know that you are just seeing like amazing battlers. It's super stack. I think that almost all the factions are doing quite well, and like Project Rookie, that was like the one of the top two factions last season, is like struggling this season. So you can really see that. The level of the competition is getting better and better, and it's every week it's a
Oh, I think we lost you there, Spleen.
I should be back,
Oh,
right?
there you go. Yeah, yeah, there we go, there we go. That wasn't me that time, I promise.
Yeah. I just don't have enough battery on the headsets anymore.
Oh,
But
classic.
you should be really amazed by how you, if you look at some teams in like open tier format, you will see some amazing battlers that are in there. Same in bronze, same in silver. So the really the level of competition is amazing, and we love this format, and I guess it's going to grow and grow again in the future.
Yeah, definitely. It can't be said enough. You'll see a lot of the big battlers, the big content creators, everybody kind of echoing on the same bell. Team formats are the future of Pokemon Go PvP. They just bring a new sense of camaraderie with these players. The level is just the stakes are so much higher when it's not just your own games that you're playing for, but you've got this sort of team wrapped around you that's cheering you on, helping you out, pushing you to be the best that you can be. And Silph doing an amazing job with these formats. Really loving the new catered open format for this field specialist, tailed along by an old classic that's maybe been revamped and redeveloped with some buffs from Pokemon Go moves like the Poison buff in Twilight, and then always willing to make the adjustments to those open leagues like Ultra, like Master, to ensure that it's not stale, that it's new, that it's fresh every time. But like you said, these battlers are all amazing in their own right. And despite seeing a victory here for Wasted Potential, these Fani Kushiego players, these Polish giants, they are monsters in their own right. And we expect them to do incredible things in this league.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not to forget that they won in bout one against the EU Emperors that were the current champions of the Diamond Tier in MEA. So definitely, it's going to it's close. It's always close games, and it came down to some details.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that said, we can say our adieus. We can say our goodbyes here. This has been an incredible stream. Thank you so much for hopping in and helping me out here, Spleen. And of course, we hope that Burnabus is resting well at home and getting those much-needed Z's and getting pampered as he makes his recovery. But chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Anybody who happens to be viewing the VOD, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for getting this far. My name is NoFunPayneDunn. This is Master Spleen. We are both PvP academians, but Spleen, if people are trying to find you individually, where can they start looking?
Yeah, definitely. You can look on the channel. You can as well look on Twitter, Spleenlejeune, and we're happy to exchange. You can contact me as well on our Discord server, My PvP Academia, if you want to chat with Payne, with me, with the other members of the academy, such as Xevious or Lundberger. We're always happy to help and to try to make this community that's awesome continue to grow.
Yeah, that's very true. And despite all of the quality of game problems that may be going on and a lot of the discourse surrounding those, the one thing that I think that a lot of players can find solace on is that this community is incredible and it's always open and welcoming. So if you happen to be hopping into this stream, maybe as a new player, maybe as a player that plays a lot of GBL, looking to branch into some of the more competitive formats, there are a lot of resources there to help you get in. And I hope that this stream has been helpful, and I hope that you've enjoyed the content. And as Spleen mentioned, you can find us both in the My PvP Academia Discord server. You can message us both anytime. Spleen's a little bit better of a conversationalist than I am, but I do my best to keep up. He's far more handsome than I am too, so send all your inquiries to him. But either way, thank you so much, everybody, for hopping in. Thank you for checking it out. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you continue to check out this faction content. There's a lot of creators out there that are pushing this factions type content. You can catch some NA streams, you can catch some APAC streams, EMEA streams, the whole shebang's there. So keep ingesting that Pokemon Go PvP content. Keep coming out to these streams, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yep. See you, people.